we're having some troubles with it on Wednesday. So basically a rate is a little bit like a ratio, but you're comparing two sets of different units. So I'm going to go through some of these with you just to help you out. So example, 12 truckloads in 3 hours. Usually what we want to do in a rate is we want to write it at the end a little bit like that. So if you watch the video or you did your maths online, you'll know it's going to be so many centimetres, and the end one always is per 1, and in this case I believe that's a second. Yeah, there it is there. So that last number is only just 1, always just out of so many centimetres per 1 second. So pretty much all you're doing is you're taking the first number, centimetres, that's centimetres first part of the rate, and you're dividing it by whatever the second number for seconds is. In this case it's 5. So that one I'm just going to go 85 divided by 5, and that means that if this is a snail, this particular snail can move pretty fast because he can go 17 centimetres in 1 second. So I'm guessing it's not really a snail, is it? So for most of these questions, that's all you're doing. First number divided by the second number, because we want to make the second number out of 1. And then you need to write these units at the end. You need to write the first one shells, and then that line is also, we say per, so it's so many shells per metre squared. So you always write whatever the two sets of units are, and in the order that they're written in the question. So this one will be so many people per entrance, because remember it's just 1. All right, and to work it out, you're going to go 871 divided by 13. So I'll leave you with those ones because I think you can do most of those. Now these ones get a little bit harder, and if you get a little bit, a little bit tongue-tied with them, don't worry, you're going to do them again in year 9 and year 10. All right, so in this one, what's happening is we're starting with this unit, and they're asking us to change it to this one. So the first ones, I've got a tonne here, and I've got a kilogram here. So all I'm doing is I am just changing the unit. I am changing units. Now I did this with Luke earlier. Now I don't know if you know this, but let me see if I can find it. I did this jumpy thing with Luke. That's not what I wanted. Let me see if I can find it. It looks something like maybe this one. No, not that one. Beg your pardon. I'm looking for 8th of the 9th. Maybe that one? No, not that one. Oopsies. Here it is. Notes. I should have known that one. Yes, go away. Remember these jumpy looking things? So I'm going to do the same thing. Now that one before just said tons. So we're dealing with tons to kilograms to grams. Now what you need to know is this. If you go from a big unit like a tonne, 1 tonne is really, quite a large amount of gravel if you wish, down to kilos, you always multiply. So from a bigger to a smaller unit, you multiply. From a smaller to a bigger unit, you divide. All right? So tonnes to kilos. Do you know how many kilos are in a tonne? Well, hopefully you know that the word kilo, that the K stands for, that actually means 1,000. So if I'm going from tonnes to kilos, there's actually 1,000 kilos in a tonne. So no matter which way I'm going to divide all times by 1,000. And kilo going the other way to grams also means the same thing. It means 1,000. Now pretty much everything else, changing litres to millilitres to kilolitres, they're always going to be by 1,000. The only time it's not is good old length, when you've got centi, and unfortunately centi means 100, like century. There's 100 years in a century. So that particular one just means 100. Now for our sheet, we were changing tonnes to kilos, I think. I'm pretty sure we were. Tonnes in the question to kilos. So that means I have times by 1,000. So good luck, miss. I've got to go and find that sheet again now. Let's see if it's down the bottom. No, it should be called rates. There it is there. Go away. All right, so I'm changing tonnes to kilos. So that means I am going to times by 1,000 according to my jumpy thing. So I'm going to write this number here, 8.4, because it's in the question. Tonnes to kilos means I times by 1,000. So that's all I do. 8.4 times 1,000 equals 8,400 kilograms on my calculator. Okay? All right. Now this one unfortunately is a little bit different. You'll notice here the first one is just kilometres to kilometres, isn't it? So we need to go from 1 second to 1 minute. Can you tell me how many seconds are in a minute? Hopefully you told me there are 60 seconds in a minute, miss. So I'd have to say to you, how do you go from 1 second, I'll change it to a different colour, to 60 seconds? Okay, let's have a look and see if we're going to do the right thing. Now, when I do this with year 12, we often put this in a fraction form. Anyway, let's check the answer and we'll see. Do we times or do we divide? Because I'm going to run out of time here. I know, where is it? It's down here, isn't it? All right, good. We're going to times by 60. Let's just double check. And I think I was right. So I said to you, what do I do to change 1 second to 60 seconds? And hopefully you said, well, 1 times 60 will give me 60. So that's how I know to multiply by 60. So 2.5 times 60 gives us 150 kilometres per minute. Let's check. Was that the answer? There it is. Yes, we were correct. All right, let's try the next one. And then you can do some on your own. All right, this one here, 936 people. You'll notice people is the same. And we've got here 1 year. And here we've got weeks. Now that stands for 1 week. How many weeks are in a year? Do you remember? Hopefully you said there are 52 weeks in 1 year. I have to change 52 down to 1. How do I change anything back down to 1? Hopefully you said, well, you divide by 52. 52 divided by 52 will get me down to 1, won't it? So if I go 936 and I divide by 52, 936 divide by 52, that gives me 18. That's 18 people per week. Let's check. Was that correct for number 9? Yep, good. We got that right. Excellent. Now, when you get over here, they get a lot harder. I'll do the first one with you, but you probably won't do these again until year 9. So if you don't get the hang of it, don't panic too much. Now, I'll give you a big hint. Notice you got a times here and a divide here. That's always what happens, okay? You will get one that's a times and one that's a divide. So let's figure this one out, shall we? We've got to figure out which one's which. So here I have 1 second. Here I have 1 minute. How do I change 1 second to 1 minute? Well, let's first of all figure out how many seconds are in a minute. Hopefully you said there are 60 seconds in a minute, miss. So what do you do to 1 to change it into 60? Hopefully you said times by 60, miss. And I go, you are correct. So this number here goes here. And times, see that's a times. So I know to put the times 60 in this box because I'm multiplying. So on my calculator, I'm going to do 12 times 60 and I get 720. Right, so now I've got to change units. I've got to change my centimetres to metres. Now if I can find that sheet again, let's see if I can find it. Was it down here somewhere? I think it was that one. No, not that one, miss. Which one was it? It was, come on, miss. Oh, goodness me. This one, notes. Yes, it is. It's above it. Go away. So I need to use this jumpy thing. Metres to centimetres. It says times by 100. Am I going from centimetres to metres? I divide by 100. Let's have a look. Now I know where rates is. It was just below it. I'm going from centimetres to metres. So just to double check. Centimetres to metres, I divide by 100. Let's go back. That's really annoying. Centimetres to metres, I divide by 100. So I'm going to put 100 in here. This 720 goes here. And I'm going to do 720 divided by 100. Hopefully you get 7.2. And that's your answer. Bit tricky, hey? Let's check if we got that right. Yep, there it is, 7.2. Beautiful. Now these ones are all the same as those. Try 14 if you can on your own, and if you really want to try 15 and 16, but they are a bit tricky. So I'd like you to also try 17, 18 and 19 and any of these ones over here. I am going to try. Now they're all connected. Notice 17 is talking about a car tyre, 18 is with 17 and 19 is also with 18. So realise there's usually two, one after the other. I'm going to have a go at the cheese one. A block of cheese costs $13 per kilo. How much would 2.2 kilos cost? All right, so I know that this means $13 for 1 kilo, don't I? But I want to know how much 2.2 kilos cost. So that means all I've got to do is $13 times 2.2. 13 times 2.2 gives 28.6 I get. Now remember, this is dollars and cents. We do that to 2 decimal places, don't we? Now 23 goes with it. It says what amount of cheese in kilos could be purchased for $20 to 2 decimal places. Okay, well I know I can get 1 kilo for $13, don't I? So let's do 20 divided by that 13. That will tell me how many kilos I can get out of it. So on my calculator, 20 divided by 13 gives me 1.53846. To do 2 decimal places, that's 1.54 because it says to 2 decimal places. And that's going to be my answer in kilos. Okay, answers are down the bottom. If you need any more help, just yell out. I'd be on Zoom. Bye, you